How do you think engagement influences your success in Rancho Cucamonga and maintaining its overall sense of community?
I think engagement is everything in establishing our sense of community here. Especially historically, all local governments, probably all governments, period, have struggled with establishing meaningful engagements and building community through that path, especially when you're working with your marginalized communities. For over a decade here, we've been working to meet residents where they're at, and through an initiative that focuses on health, equity, resiliency, we call it Healthy RC. We created a catalyst not only for enhancing the health and well-being throughout the city, but incidentally, kind of almost on accident, we ended up creating this ever-evolving model for authentic community engagement. And over the years, we've begun and we continue to deploy this throughout the entire city as an agency to our many pockets of residents and micro communities that make up the entire city. So when the pandemic hit, when the stay-at-home orders were first put in place, we knew that letting our community know that we were here to provide reliable information, to continue to provide that sense of place, even if it was virtual, and the assurances that we were focused on maintaining as much normalcy as possible, and that we were doing everything in our power to poise ourselves for successful recovery whenever that might be. We were initially focused on providing the evolving information from the local and state officials and the federal officials and the CDC. But eventually we were able to start incorporating some of that non-traditional outreach opportunities, which included encouraging people to paint rocks and, the kindness rocks and put them throughout the community, and then having a social media event to, take pictures of your rocks and post them. I think somebody else mentioned this, but we had like recreation packs that we were doing surprise deliveries to people that had participated in our recreation community services programs. And there'd be chalk drawing, we would draw chalk all over their driveways, the hashtag you've been wrecked. I actually got to go out and do that one day, and it was really fun and rejuvenating. We had a series of the hashtag Be Kind RC videos that starred our community members. So they took videos at home and sent them in to us, and then we incorporated them and sent them back out to the community. We had virtual communities regarding mental health, which we continue to do to this day. We've had larger symposiums and smaller, individual workshops. We've continued our longtime city traditions. We had to cancel our 4th of July fireworks on the 4th because everybody else around us was canceling theirs. And so all of a sudden the herd was, going to come to Rancho Cucamonga. But instead of just canceling it, we did it as a surprise 5th of July, 4th of July fireworks show. And we, live streamed it and recorded it and sent it out. We have a Founders Day parade and a Veterans Day ceremony. We've found ways to make these all are virtual. Maybe one of the most fun and meaningful ones was we participated in the All America City Award competition this year. And it focused on health and community engagement, like I said, which have long been cornerstones of our organization and our community. And having that and having community members find ways to participate in that process, and then winning and being named 2020 All-America City was really meaningful. Although probably even more meaningful and probably our greatest accomplishment was not just all the feel-good stuff, but we distributed, and we are continuing to distribute, over $2 million to over 750 residents and businesses through the CARES Act funding. Rather to keep the money to supplement our dwindling revenues and our operations, we knew that the money would better serve the recovery of our community if that money was going directly to those that were struggling to pay their rent, were struggling to keep their businesses open. So, like any relationship, continuing to show up, being able to provide relief, whether it's comedic relief or financial relief, and continuing to just build that trust and that relationship that keeps us connected to the reason, which is why we're all here, which is, to serve our community.
Yeah. Congratulations on your award. I know that's a rigorous process, but honestly, I think that competition and that process, which is community focused, probably helped a lot in kind of promoting that positive messaging that you're doing, and especially when you actually get acknowledged. I really appreciated your comment about the marginalized populations. Can you talk a little bit more about ways that you can have helped those underrepresented groups generally maintain that sense of community in your community?
Yeah, absolutely. We have one really amazing program, and my Spanish is so horrible. It's probably one of my biggest things that I would love to improve about myself. But it's called Community Champions, except in Espanol, which I cannot say the name to save my life. So please forgive me, everybody out there. And our Community Champions program focuses solely on our Spanish speakers. It is made up of those people that don't speak a lot of English, very little. And this group has been around for almost as long as the Health ERC program has been. And they are amazing, and they are dynamic, and they are getting involved and helping change policy. They are, advocating for things in their community. One of the things that they advocated and created some years ago was, really building up the sidewalks in their neighborhood and creating, we were able to partner with them using safe routes to school funding, be able to build up and get, from point A to point B. We've done similar things with parks and putting parks into some of our less park populous neighborhoods. We have something similar with our Health ERC team leaders, again, focusing on that next generation who's got some really amazing hearts and stories. Our team leaders have worked on things like vaping, putting in a vaping ordinance in place here in the city. They have spent a lot of time on mental health and suicide prevention, especially this year, but leading up to this year as well. And so just really, our mantra really is like, how do we meet our residents where they're at? And to that extent, we are working right now specifically on our community engagement policy with a health equity lens, knowing that the more our community engagement is representative of our community, the longer term health, and not just, active living and healthy eating, but financial health, resiliency, mental health, all of those things will be better in our community. So it's a great focus for